Hello, welcome back. Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger on October 22nd, 2022. We have worked on this multiple times before on how to deal with if someone grab you by the throat. And this, of course, translates to if they grab you by the lapel, or the front of the shirt, or even grab your face. Today, we are going to look at three more techniques on how to free yourself from a frontal, throat, a shirt, face grab. These three techniques are all very good in their own way, but they are lesser used. Primarily, for a few reasons. I'm going to go into them as we go through them. But generally speaking, they are simply not quite as versatile as the one I've shown before. Now, let's do a quick review. When someone grabs your throat, my personal favorite is the elbow lift. So when someone grabs your throat and trying to push you back, simply put your hand under their elbow and push up and start walking forward. Okay? Doesn't matter how big the person is, this will free up their grip. This will loosen their grip and they won't be able to push you back. That is technique number one. Technique number two, when someone grabs your throat, lift your shoulder to your ear. Doesn't matter which shoulder, whichever way you're stronger. So let's say if I grab my throat, I lift my shoulder and twist. Okay, then my shoulder is going to move his hand away from my throat. Third alternative, you can usually combine this with the shoulder shrug is adding a C plug. What is a C plug? I form my hand into an L shape. So I put my thumb and my fingers together, and then I hit the hand as I turn my shoulder. This will remove the hand from my throat. These are the bread and butter of what I do for throat grab, shirt grab, face grab, unpleasant stuff like that. Right? Now, we talked about this before. If you get slammed up against a wall or if you're on the floor, you might have to modify your technique a little bit. But the fact remains there's hundreds of different schools out there that teaching different techniques. Um, so, not that anyone is right or wrong. Like whatever works. Whenever people ask me which technique do you think is better, look, whatever works for you, if you can get it to work, if you can free yourself without putting yourself in more danger, that's a good technique. Okay, whatever technique that works is a good technique. The reason why I want to show you guys the three lesser used but equally impressive and very useful version of how to escape from a grab to the throat or a grab to the shirt or grab to the face is that sometimes this technique can fail depending on the circumstance, the strength of the person grabbing you, what their intentions are. For example, if the person grabbing you is just standing here choking you, it's going to be very different from if the person grabs your neck and start pushing you back toward the wall. Okay, that's totally different. The person who grabbing you with their elbow facing down is going to be very different versus someone who grab you and flare their elbow out to the side like this. A person grabbing you and bring you close to their face is going to be very different from someone who grab you and keep you at arm's distance. Right? Before you ask, let me quickly answer this because a lot of people I've taught always ask this one. If they grab me by the throat, why don't I just kick them in the groin or knee them in the groin? And I say, yes, you can. And if that works, that's all you need. Okay? Alright? Grab me by the throat and knee him in the groin. Good. We can move on. Okay? But you're not going to find it really hard to kick someone in the groin when the person grabbing you is shoving you back towards the wall. You're off balance, you're stumbling. Okay? So in that case, the kick to the groin probably won't happen. Or let's say for me, because I am such an experienced guy who likes to grab people by the neck. No, I'm not. But anyway, if I'm going to grab someone by the neck, I'm going to expect that kick to the groin. So when I grab someone by the neck, I am going to come from a diagonal direction. So I'm beside them. Okay? From here, you won't be able to kick me in the groin. You might be able to hit me in the groin with the hand on the inside. But even that is very unlikely. So this is why we don't just default to kicking in the groin. If the groin is there, yeah, kick it. If the groin is there, hit it. But if the groin is not there, or if you try to kick them in the groin and fail, you need to know what you're doing. A second question I get asked all the time, especially by guys, is why do I need to learn this? Who would attack me like that? And that is true. Like when you look at almost no one going to attack someone like me, like that, grabbing me by the throat, right? No, that is not the point. The point is there are a lot of people out there that get attacked with like that. Usually are kids, women, smaller people. Okay, so just because you yourself, big and burly, you don't feel this is important, it's still good to learn. So you may be able to pass it on to your girlfriend, your kid, your wife, your sisters, your mom, right? So don't just get that in your head that you're big and strong. No one's ever going to do this to you. You just don't know, right? What if you run into someone who's 500 pounds, they're 7 feet tall? They are going to be able to do that to you. They will do that to you, right? Unlikely, but it can happen. Okay, enough talking. Three techniques, alternative techniques for throat grab and frontal grabbing. Number one, this one comes directly from the dragon style Chinese Kung Fu. This is called the two knuckle strike. Two knuckle strike is when a person's hand come up to grab either my face, the front of my shirt, or my throat. Any time that they leave their side, their armpit, their chest unprotected, then the two knuckle strike can happen. How you do this, let me get his arm out of the way so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. You take your hand, stick your middle finger and index finger knuckle out, right? Like this. So knuckles are pointing forward. It's not like a complete fist. You're sticking your knuckle outward. And then you do a rotating, screwing motion, punching right into this part, right under the pec, right under the nipple. Sometimes you can go in middle of the chest, but believe me, around the nipple, just always aim for the nipple. It's going to be the most effective. Okay, so you don't even have to hit the person that hard. Just use the pressure of your knuckle, push them away. Yeah? They will let go of your neck. A slightly different version of this same principle is to use your thumb, but be careful, don't jam your thumb. Okay? If someone come up and grab me on the neck, obviously the arm is up like this, grabbing my neck. I'm going to take my thumb and jam it right up into the armpit as hard as I can. Right? So this is a very good technique, because it's utilizing pain compliance, you're not just doing some little slip of a hand trick, and they let go of you, but they're not hurt. This actually hurts. And this, when the person is hurt, their brain immediately going to, oh, let's not do that again. Okay, so it's unlikely that they'll try grabbing you again after you hurt them doing this, right? If someone grab me and I do my favorite technique, the elbow lift, that doesn't hurt them. Okay, that is, to them, that will feel like that got to be a fluke. To them, it's going to feel like, well, I must have slipped, my hand slipped. So they'll come and try it again, and I'll have to do something else to them. Okay, so it's a peaceful solution, the elbow lift, but it will not deter them unless the person is smart enough to realize, whoa, this guy is so good. He didn't even hurt me, and he got out of my grasp. Probably shouldn't mess with him. But most angry, drunken guy is not going to think like that. Okay? So when you run into guys that are angry, aggressive, then you need the two knuckle strike or the thumb into the armpit to give them that pain to think about. Now, where is the problem for this technique? I keep talking like this is a really good technique, and it is. The problem with this technique, that a lot of time when we are practicing in classroom setting, when we are practicing with friends, we are practicing with people roughly our own size, which means if Bruce can grab my neck, my knuckle can reach his body. Okay? If Bruce can grab my neck, my thumb can reach his armpit. But out there is not a safe thing to assume. In fact, I will almost guarantee you this, that people who will do this to you, grab you by the neck, usually will have a foot, at least a foot of height on you, right? Because people of the same size grabbing the neck is just not a very intuitive thing to do to somebody your own size. This is something that you do to small people, people smaller than you. Which means if Bruce is a foot taller than me, most likely, if he grab me by the throat, unless he keep his arm bent like this, like he flare his elbow out, which some people do, then I can still get the two knuckle to the chest or the thumb to the armpit to work perfectly. But if he push outward, if he straighten his arm, then I can't reach him. Okay, this technique would be garbage, right? So this is why this is one of the lesser used technique, because it is distant, or like distant dependent, and also not too many people practice dragon style Chinese kung fu anymore. The next one I'm going to show you guys technique number two, one of the lesser used technique. This one comes from the white crane style karate and also the crane style Chinese kung fu. This one is called the diagonal shove. And this is a cute little technique that I use from time to time just to, well, honestly, just to annoy the heck out of my partners when we are doing drills and sparring when they try to grab me. Because this is one of those techniques that it it doesn't look like it should work, but it does. How it works is if the person grab me with his left hand, or actually let's up the ante a little bit. Let's say the person grab me with both hands. Yeah, let's say the person grab my neck with both hands. Most of the time, when we are dealing with grab, we are dealing with the same side hand attacking the same side hand, which means if I want to get his left hand off my neck, I would be using my right arm because it's on the same side as his left hand, right? This is how it usually works. But when we want to do the diagonal shove, that is not the case. When I'm performing the diagonal shove, I'm going to shoot my left hand toward diagonally toward his left shoulder, where his shoulder meets his bicep. So at the shoulder joint, right in the front. So let me show it on my own body. Right here, where the just in front of the armpit, where this group of muscle, where you have uh, the deltoid, the pec. Okay, there's this little corner right here. This is where you're aiming for, right? And it's an open palm shove. Okay, so if someone grabs my neck, I'm going to lower my center of gravity and try to turn my body and shove them on the shoulder joint diagonally. Okay. Now, a lot of people say, what if this person's super strong? It doesn't matter. Okay? I will guarantee you this one. This technique works, doesn't matter how strong the person is, because it works on simple body mechanic. Okay? His one arm, human arm, is strong coming in, but not very strong holding the force in the other direction. Right? So, when his arm is busy trying to hold onto my neck, most of his force is directed forward and around the forearm and the hand. Okay? The chest, the shoulder part is not really doing that much other than stabilizing. So when I shove my palm against that, that will turn his body. That will turn his body. Okay? And it's the turning of his body that get his hand away from my neck. Okay? But why don't we shove straight? Okay, why don't I shove? Why don't I use my right hand to shove his uh, same side shoulder joint? Why don't I use my right hand to shove his left shoulder joint? Because he is pushing against my neck. For me to push forward, I would be putting pressure on my throat, which is counterintuitive. It's not going to work. Okay, but for me to shove across, then I don't have to put any pressure on my throat. All I have to do is rotate my body and shove across, shove diagonally, right? So that's why you want to shove the diagonal, the opposite shoulder. Now, why is this one not used more often? Because again, like the elbow lift, this one doesn't put in that signal that hey, I can hurt you really bad. And this one is more like okay, that was easy. You want to try that again? Kind of. So it has a little bit of a teasing tone to it. This is a great technique. If the person is like just your cousin messing around and stuff like that, and you do that to him, you're not hurt. He's not hurt. Great. Right? But some angry drunk coming on hard, and I do this and back away. He's not hurt. He's going to come on again. Okay, so I can't keep doing this because eventually it's going to get tiring, and eventually he's going to think of something else to do to me. So this technique, while it's very good, very pretty, and very cute in the sense that it has that kind of a playful tone to it, um, it is not uh, going to deter them from wanting to uh, pursue the matter, wanting to continue the fight. In other words, no. So, sometimes I get asked, so okay, so if this doesn't work, why don't I punch the opposite shoulder joint? Why don't I punch rather than shove? I'm going to say it this way: you can, if you think you are going to get a good punch on the shoulder joint, but the shoulder joint is not really that big of a target. So when you do a punch, most likely your fist will just skim off, and then you end up wasting a lot of energy and not accomplishing a heck of a lot. So a push is a much more controlled force, and it will redirect the person a lot better than if you try to punch their shoulder joints, right? And honestly, when the person arm is up like this in front of them, grabbing your neck, you punch their shoulder joint, there's a lot of muscles activated here. Most likely, it's not going to even hurt that much, right? Last, but definitely not least, uh, we have from our own Krav Maga school, Commando Krav Maga, the elbow drop. This is a devastating technique. This one is really, really damaging. Great technique. Um, Let me show you guys. When someone grab your neck, rather than doing all this hitting and twisting and all that, so Bruce is grabbing me with his left arm, left hand, grabbing me around the throat. My right arm going to swing like I'm punching the ceiling. Okay, I'm going to reach towards the ceiling, turn my body, and then drop my elbow down on his wrist. This will get the grip to go away. Again, this is one of those really awesome techniques that will tell you it's going to work no matter how big the person is. Okay, I've done this to a lady I train in class. She's really small, like maybe 90 pounds, and I grab her neck. I feel like I can just snap her neck. Like that's how small she is compared to me. When she does this elbow drop on my wrist, I let go. Like I'm not going to hold on. It hurts. Okay, so look at that again. Someone grab your neck, you punch your hand towards the ceiling, turn towards them, drop your elbow right down on the wrist. Okay, really, really good. If you do it right, it can sometimes break the wrist, break the forearm, right? Or twist it, spring it really badly, so they can't really function with that hand for a while. So, if this is such a good technique, why is it not used often? Because you are telegraphing it. Okay? There's two reasons. There's two reasons why this is not used, not one of my preferred uh, movement. Because you are doing this punch towards the ceiling, so anytime if the person even know what they're doing, they know what's coming. Okay? Which means they can block this. Let me show you guys how this is going to get blocked. Let's say I grab Bruce's neck, right, and then Bruce start to raise his arm up, and I know this elbow drop is coming. All I have to do is turn my body slightly, bring my own elbow up. I'm still holding onto his neck, but he can't drop this elbow down because my forearm, my elbow is now in the way. Okay, so it's bad. Okay, you're telegraphing your intention. So that's where one risk factor is with this move, right? Yeah, you can see when I punch towards the ceiling, this is such an obvious uh, telegraphing move that the person know what's coming. Number two, why this is a bad move in some ways, and this is more for new people, right? For people who are not used to it. I've seen so many people after they do this move, they end up like this. Their back is to the person because they turn too much. They swing their shoulder too much. So they end up with their back to the person. And in a fight, if you end up with your back to the person, what's going to happen is they grab you from behind and choke you like this. Now you're worse off than before, right? So when you do this move, make sure you shoot your arm up, drop your elbow, and then you turn right back to face them. You don't want to overturn and then you end up with your back towards them. Right? So, quick recap. From the Dragon Kung Fu, we have the two finger, two knuckle strike to the chest, where around the nipple area, or the thumb strike into the armpit. From the white crane, we have the diagonal shoulder shove, a nice little playful move that will get the hand away from your neck almost every single time, but does not inflict any damage. Number three, we have from Commando Gramaga, the elbow drop, swing your elbow over and drop down on the forearm. Very damaging, but it's a telegraphed move, so you do risk a bit of exposure there. In the end, there is not going to be one perfect move, uh, but it's depending on which one you are the best at, which one you feel the most comfortable, which one you feel strong, which one you think that you can uh, use without having to think about it. Whatever move that works is the right move. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow with our Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good night.